What's up? I've got a message for the Democratic Party. So I want anybody who's a Democrat out there and you're listening, you can hear my voice. Listen to what I'm telling you and just try to comprehend what I'm telling you. I want you to keep doing exactly what you're doing by alienating your voter base. If you don't know what I mean, let me explain. We can start down the list. Let's start with white people. Hey, white people, if you're out there and you're listening, you can hear me. How do you feel about being called racist over everything?
Yesterday, the Times announced it was hiring a woman called Sarah Jeong to write about technology for the paper. Within hours, readers discovered Jeong's Twitter feed, which she had not bothered to delete, apparently because she was not embarrassed by it. Judging by what she wrote on Twitter, Sarah Jeong is an angry bigot, and not in a subtle way. Here are some examples of her tweets. Quote, "Oh man, it's kind of sick how much joy I get out of being cruel to old white men." Another, quote, "Dumbass effing white people marking up the internet with their opinions like dogs peeing on fire hydrants." Another, quote, "Hashtag cancel white people." As Vice.com succinctly put it a couple of years ago, quote, "It is literally impossible to be racist to a white person." Pretty much the entire left now takes that as a matter of faith. They deeply believe that. But what does that mean exactly? Is there really an entire race of people so repulsive, so morally repugnant that it is, quote, "literally impossible to wrong them"? You could do anything to people like that and not feel bad about it. In fact, why wouldn't you? They deserve it. They're not really human. That's the attitude. It's not hard to guess where ideas like that wind up. We've seen it. All of us should be afraid of it. All of us, regardless of color. There are plenty of examples in history of what happens when people start thinking this way. And they're all sad. It's awful.
How do you feel being blamed for everything that goes wrong in this country? How do you feel being told that you have some sort of invisible privilege based on the color of your skin alone? Hey, black folks, let me ask you, how do you feel about being told that you are less than? How do you feel being told that you may not be able to go get an ID because, well, you just don't know where the DMV is, or you can't figure it out, or you also don't know how to use the internet, and things like that?
I think voter ID laws are a way to perpetuate racism.
Would you go as far as say those laws are racist?
For sure.
Do you think it suppresses the African American vote?
Definitely.
Tell us how.
Because they're less likely to have state IDs.
Minority voters are less likely to have the kinds of IDs that have been described or required.
These type of people don't live in areas with easy access to DMVs or other places where they can get identification.
You can always get IDs you do over the internet. Does that also make it difficult for black people in particular?
Yeah, you have to have access to the internet. You have to be able to pay an internet service provider for certain fees.
Do you think that's harder for black people to go online?
Well, I feel like they don't have the knowledge of how it works.
A lot of people have smartphones, but you might not have data.
For most of the communities, they don't really know what is out there just because they're not aware or they're not informed.
Now I'm here in East Harlem to ask black people their thoughts on what you just heard. Do you have ID normally? You carry ID around?
Yes, I have state ID.
Do you carry ID?
Yes, I do.
Do you know any black person who doesn't carry ID?
No. Everyone that I know has an ID. Why would they think we don't have ID?
That's a lie. Why would they say that?
Do you have ID?
Yes.
Because I have my ID and my friends have their ID, so we know what we need to carry around.
Everybody that I know have ID. Like, that's one of the things you need to walk around with New York with, ID.
Do you know any black adult who does not have ID?
No, I don't.
Is it a weird thing to even say that?
Yes, it is.
What is this, some type of trick candy camera?
I know, right? That's the only thing I brought with me.
Those are legit IDs. I heard a lot also that black people can't figure out how to get to the DMV.
Really?
What does that say to you?
I know it's that, on 25th Street.
Do you know where the DMV is around you?
It's on 125th Street and 3rd Avenue, I believe.
You know how to get there?
Yeah.
Did you have a problem getting there if you had to get there?
No.
I know these sound like silly questions. You know how to get to the DMV?
Of course.
You know where it is?
Yes.
You can get there?
Uh-huh.
No problem.
No problem.
Just checking.
Okay.
And I also heard a lot that black people, especially poor black people, have no access to the internet, can't figure out how to use the internet.
That's just stupidity, honestly. Everybody has access to the internet. Even a little kid could figure out how to work the internet.
I had access to the internet for years.
know how to use it properly, right?
Exactly. I do it at work. So, of course, I know how to use it. My kids know how to use it. They all have iPads, iPods, whatever.
Your phone has data?
Mm-hmm.
You can actually
Unlimited.
Unlimited data.
Mm-hmm. I use my phone as a hotspot.
What does that say to you for the people who have this perception of black people?
They're pretty much ignorant. That's what my thought process was.
I just think that's ignorant.
Ignorant.
Ignorant. That's the
Very,
word I'm hearing
very
a lot.
ignorant.
Ignorant.
Very, very ignorant.
Does it sound racist for somebody to say that?
I think it is a little racist because, you know, you're putting people in a category and you have no idea what you're talking about.
Maybe a little bit of racist in it, but like I said, I think it's more stupidity and ignorance.
You're judging somebody, like, but you're judging them because they black, saying that they don't got it.
What people are they talking to? Who are these people talking to?
Do you have a problem that if you go to vote and they say, "Can we please see your ID to make sure you are who you say you are?" Are you
Love
cool?
showing my ID.
You got no problem with that?
Nope.
Would you have a problem if when you go to vote, if they say, "Can we please just see your ID to make sure you are who you say you are?" Do you have an issue with that?
No.
Would you have a problem if there was a rule where you have to show your ID in order to vote?
I don't think so. No.
Would you have an issue if there was a rule saying you got to show your ID before you vote?
Nah.
Are you cool with that?
Yeah.
How do you feel in these Democrat-ran cities that are teeming with violence and crime, and they're calling for defunding the police, but they're not giving up their own security? How do you like people speaking for you as opposed to you? Hey, to the Latin folks, sorry, my bad, Latinx.
Latinx community.
Latinx?
Latino, a Latinx person.
Is it a channel?
No, but have you heard of the iPhone X? That's similar.
I don't know. Is it like Malcolm X?
To the legal immigrants who have come here through the immigration process, how do you feel about other people just getting to cut line? To the fellas, how do you feel being told that being a father is a bad thing? That to be a man is really a bad thing. To work out is a bad thing. That when you do all these things, that it is exhibiting toxic masculinity. And to the ladies out there, or should we call you, I don't know, birthing persons or chest feeders or people who menstruate?
Rachel, let me read to you from NARAL, right? This is their tweet. When we talk about birthing people, we're being inclusive. It's that simple. We use gender-neutral language when talking about pregnancy because it's not just cisgender women that can get pregnant and give birth. Reproductive freedom is for everybody. Our Nancy Mace said this, though. She said, birthing people, I think that we have this here from Nancy Mace. Can you pull it up for me? I don't have it. We might not have it. Rachel, I thought it was actually really smart, though. She's basically saying that birthing people, that they're taking away the one thing, like that moms, like that's what you get. Like women are moms. And you are, like, the greatest mom, and here you are. And I think that birthing people's brunch does not sound very attractive on Mother's Day.
No, it's not attractive. Neither is chest feeding or people who menstruate, which are the other terms they want. I really am very fearful of this neutral ideology. By the way, NARAL, I don't take anything they say. This is an abortion lobby who, by the way, is so anti-science. And not surprising that they, don't acknowledge genders. They don't even acknowledge modern fetal development. They won't even acknowledge that a baby is a baby in the womb is a human. So I don't take anything they say. Look, in the 1970s, Dana, the feminist movement tried to get women to be more like men, and they said that's what we had to do. And now they're just trying to erase our gender altogether, what makes us unique and special, in order to satisfy a very small group of men who want to be women. So I think this is dangerous. And
how do you feel all those years fighting for women's rights to just have it taken away by men who want to be women? And now they want to take it a step further by putting men in women's sports. If you are a Christian and you can support the Democratic Party, I would ask you to seek God's face. And if you consider yourself to be a progressive Christian, please stop calling yourself a Christian.